Have you ever wondered why the Israel-Palestine conflict has persisted for so long, and who's really at fault? This question has been asked countless times over the years, and it's a question that's worth delving into. Today, we're going to take a journey into the past to better understand the roots of this enduring conflict. This conflict, steeped in a rich and complex history, is not just about land and borders. It's about identities, about rights, about a struggle for self-determination. It's a story that's been told and retold from different perspectives, and it's important for us to listen to all sides. In this video, we're not here to place blame or take sides. Instead, our aim is to provide a chronological explanation of the conflict, to shed light on the progression of events that have led us to where we are now. So, fasten your seatbelts. Join us as we journey through history to better understand this century-long dispute. To comprehend the present, we must explore the past. Our story begins in the late 19th and early 20th century, a time of great change and upheaval worldwide. In this era, two significant movements were born in the Middle East: Zionism and Arab nationalism. Zionism arose among the Jewish communities in Europe as a national movement for the return of the Jewish people to their homeland and the resumption of Jewish sovereignty in the land of Israel. It was fueled by centuries of persecution and the dream of a place where Jews could live free from the fear of anti-Semitism. On the other hand, Arab nationalism was a wave of patriotic sentiments among Arab countries of the Middle East against the Ottoman Turkish rule, seeking independence and unity. In the region of Palestine, this nationalism was a response to the influx of Jews and the fear of losing their majority in their ancestral land. In the midst of these brewing tensions, the Balfour Declaration of 1917 came into play. Issued by the British government, it endorsed the creation of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. While this was celebrated by the Zionists, it was viewed with deep suspicion by the Arab inhabitants of Palestine and the surrounding Arab nations. Following the Balfour Declaration, the British Mandate in Palestine was established, adding another layer of complexity to the situation. The British were now in control of the region, promising to implement the Balfour Declaration and also assuring the Arab majority that their rights and positions would not be compromised. This dual obligation proved to be a tightrope walk, contributing to increasing tensions between the Jewish immigrants and the Arab locals. This early period set the stage for the conflicts that were to follow. It was a time of dreams and fears, promises and betrayals. As we move forward in our journey, we will see how these early years shaped the course of the Israel-Palestine conflict, setting in motion a series of events that continue to impact the region to this day. The aftermath of World War II brought about significant changes, not the least of which was the reshaping of the Middle East landscape. In the shadow of the Holocaust, where 6 million Jews perished, a strong wave of Jewish migration to Palestine was triggered. This was not a new phenomenon, as Jews had been moving to Palestine since the late 19th century. But the scale of migration post-World War II was unparalleled, leading to increased tensions with the Arab population already residing in Palestine. The United Nations, in an attempt to mitigate the escalating conflict, proposed a partition plan in 1947. This plan aimed to divide Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem under international administration. Despite the opposition from Arab countries and Palestinian leaders, the plan was approved. The Jewish community accepted the proposal, viewing it as a long-awaited opportunity to establish a homeland. However, the Arab community rejected the plan, arguing it violated their rights of self-determination. This disagreement led to the eruption of a civil war. Amidst the turmoil, on May 14, 1948, the State of Israel was officially declared, marking the end of British rule in Palestine. David Ben-Gurion, Israel's first prime minister, proclaimed the establishment of a Jewish state, a safe haven for Jews from all over the world. The declaration was met with immediate recognition from the United States and the Soviet Union, among others. However, neighboring Arab states viewed this as a direct violation of the rights of the Palestinian Arab majority. This led to the Arab-Israeli War, also known as the War of Independence in Israel, or the Nakba, meaning disaster or catastrophe in the Arab world. The establishment of Israel marked a turning point in the conflict. This moment not only changed the map of the Middle East but also set the stage for a series of wars and disputes that continue to this day. As we delve deeper into this issue, it's essential to remember that the perspectives and experiences vary greatly depending on who is telling the story. The following decades were marked by wars and uprisings. The Israel-Palestine conflict wasn't a one-time event but rather a series of continuous battles and skirmishes that further complicated the situation. First came the Arab-Israeli War in 1948, a direct consequence of the creation of the State of Israel. A coalition of Arab states launched a military campaign against the newly formed nation, with each side claiming victories and suffering defeats. The war ended in 1949 with armistice agreements, but it left a lasting mark on the region, solidifying divisions and setting the stage for future conflicts. Just under 2 decades later, in 1967, the Six-Day War broke out. This was a pivotal conflict in the region, with Israel launching a preemptive strike against Egypt, Jordan, and Syria. In a swift and decisive victory, Israel seized control of several territories, including the West Bank, Gaza Strip, Golan Heights, and Sinai Peninsula. This war amplified the dispute over land and sovereignty, and the reverberations of this conflict are still felt today. The Yom Kippur War of 1973 was another significant event. On the holiest day in Judaism, Egypt and Syria launched a surprise attack on Israel. Despite initial setbacks, Israel managed to turn the tide and secure a military victory. The war, however, led to a shift in the geopolitical landscape and underscored the need for a diplomatic resolution to the ongoing conflict. Amidst these wars, 2 major uprisings, known as intifadas, erupted within the Palestinian territories. The first intifada began in 1987, sparked by frustrations over Israeli occupation. It was characterized by widespread civil disobedience and protests. The second intifada, starting in 2000, was far more violent, with suicide bombings and military operations becoming common occurrences. Both uprisings led to substantial loss of life and served to entrench the divide between Israelis and Palestinians. These wars and uprisings further complicated the conflict. They deepened hostilities, hardened positions, and made finding a resolution to the Israel-Palestine conflict an even more daunting task. Fast forward to the 21st century, the conflict continues. The dawn of the new millennium brought with it no reprieve in the Israel-Palestine conflict. This era has been punctuated by several significant events, each adding a new layer of complexity to the dispute. Among these, the Gaza Wars, the U.S. Embassy, move to Jerusalem, and the Abraham Accords stand out. The Gaza Wars, a series of 3 military conflicts occurring in 2008, 2012, and 2014, have further exacerbated tensions. These wars, involving Israel and the Palestinian territories, particularly the Hamas-governed Gaza Strip, were marked by a significant loss of life and a devastating impact on the infrastructure of Gaza. The ripple effects of these wars continue to be felt today, amplifying the existing animosity and mistrust. In 2017, a new twist was added to the narrative when the United States, under the presidency of Donald Trump, recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital and moved its embassy there. This decision upended decades of American policy and international consensus, which had maintained that the status of Jerusalem should be determined in negotiations between the Israelis and the Palestinians. The move sparked widespread protests and was met with international condemnation. More recently, the Abraham Accords, brokered in 2020, marked a significant shift in the regional dynamics. Under these agreements, the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain agreed to normalize relations with Israel. While hailed by some as a step towards peace and stability in the Middle East, others have criticized the accords for sidelining the Palestinians and failing to address their demands for self-determination and statehood. These developments indicate that the conflict, far from being resolved, continues to evolve. As we move further into the 21st century, it becomes increasingly clear that the resolution of the Israel-Palestine conflict will require not just diplomatic finesse and political will, but also a genuine commitment to addressing the root causes of the dispute and the grievances of all parties involved. In conclusion, the Israel-Palestine conflict is a complex issue, deeply rooted in history and entwined with layers of national, religious, and cultural identities. Our journey today took us from the early years through the formation of Israel post-World War II, and into the wars and intifadas that have shaped the landscape of the conflict. We've also explored recent developments that continue to add new dimensions to this ongoing struggle. It's crucial to remember that no simplistic narrative can accurately capture the intricacies of this conflict. The diverse perspectives and historical complexities involved make it a challenging issue to navigate. Yet it's through understanding this rich tapestry of history, acknowledging the pain and aspirations of all parties involved, that we can hope to contribute to informed discussions and potential resolutions. Remember, understanding is the first step towards resolution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notification and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.